Jerry Gibbons. Again, Jerry's back with us. I'm so glad he's come back, and he's getting right back in there with us. Helps out. Thank you, Jerry, because at the last minute I ran down there and said, "What's your favorite thing?" He said, "Sure, I'll jump into that deep end too." So Jerry, if you'll tell us a little bit about May's speech. We don't have a book. I think she's doing storytelling. Going to tell us a story this morning. But Jerry, we appreciate you being the evaluator. Do you have anything?
Well, I'm not a stranger to storytelling. I think a lot of folks probably know that. Didn't always tell them as good as I could have. But the thing I'll be looking for is how it flows, of course, and I'm looking for those surprises in the story. That's one of the things we always kind of look for, is kind of like a turn, or something like that. But and I know May's going to do a real good job. She's pretty good at that, so I look forward to doing it.
Thank you, Jerry. May's destination is 100, and she has an opportunity to see what the destination looks like. Help me welcome May with title speech, Beyond the Summit. Beyond the Summit, May McDaniel.
Some of you know that I use the phrase Destination 100. And what that means is I expect to live to be 100. And I don't only expect to make it there, I expect to live every single day to 100. And I had an opportunity recently. I attended a luncheon. And I went because I was interested in hearing the speaker. He was going to talk about travel, so what else is new that May would be interested in? But as part of the luncheon, someone in the audience was recognized. And we sang happy birthday to him. And we sang happy birthday to him because he had reached 100. So when the speaker was done, I rushed across the room to meet this man. And he was in a wheelchair, but I sat down, so I was at his level, and I said, I wanted to meet you. I introduced myself to him, and he told me in a very clear voice what his name was. And he had a real twinkle in his eye. And I told him why my name, and then part of the reason that I wanted to meet him was because he had achieved a goal that I was interested in. I didn't tell him, but I also really wanted to meet him because, you know, when you get as old as I am, there are not very many people who can make you feel like a child. So we chatted a little bit, and there was a woman sitting beside him. And I said, and they, got on the wedding ring, and I said, are you Mrs. Vines? And she said, yes, I am. And I said, I'd like to take your picture. So I took a photo of both of them, of him and then of both of them. And I sat back down, and I said, how long have you two been married? And he looked at me, and he kind of grinned, and he said, 5 years. 5 years. And I said to her, how old are you? And she said, I'm 95. And so he said to me, he started telling me a little more about his life. He said, she's my third wife. And I said, oh my, you've lost two wives. And he said, yes, he said, but I had 22 wonderful years with both of them. And I'm going to have 22 wonderful years. I was like, yes, this is exactly what it's supposed to be. And she said, yes, I had 65 years with my first husband. And he told me that she had been married to 2 preachers, that her first husband was a minister, and so was he. And I said, when did you retire? And he said, when I was 96. And last week, I was invited to be the minister for homecoming at my home church. And I preached the sermon. And then he started telling me about meeting Dorothy. He said, there were a bunch of us that got together for dinner on a regular basis. And he said, one of the men in the group said to me one night, I have this lady that I think you should meet. And he said, so he made the arrangements, and I met Dorothy. And he said, I liked her immediately. He said, but I asked her out for dinner. And he said, then I asked her out for dinner once, another time. And he looked at me and he said, with a real twinkle in his eye, I almost think he winked at me. He said, it wasn't very long before it was a lot more than dinner. And we got married. And we've been very happy for 5 years we've been married. And he said, but my friend came to me a little while after we were married. He said, looked at us and said, oh, you guys are so happy. He said, I really think you owe me something. Mr. Vines looked at me and he said, you know, I told him that Dorothy and I had talked about that, and that we really did think we owed him something. And we had decided that we are going to name our first child after him. That's what 100 looks like. Oh,